On this edition of The American Veteran, we'll show you how VA scientists are using robots to help patients recovering from strokes. Find out how VA may be able to help you get your business up and running. Then, hear how VA is taking an alternative approach to patient-centered care by providing veterans with acupuncture treatment. And we'll meet veterans learning to be entrepreneurs through the Veteran Sustainable Agricultural Training Program. Welcome to The American Veteran. I'm Jonathan Kopanger, a Navy veteran. Joining me is our active duty host, MC1 Jen Blake. Welcome, Jen. It's a pleasure to have you with us today, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Jonathan. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for your service as well. Research and development scientists and engineers at the Baltimore VA Medical Center are using a new device called the AnkleBot, short for ankle robot, to help patients recover function after suffering a stroke.
You're still smiling, that's good. Keep going. The idea that someone could sit in a chair years after their stroke and improve their walking speed and some other measurements of how they walk is pretty intriguing. Oh, close.
Since I've been coming here to AnkleBot study, I notice at home I can walk a little bit more without my brace than I did before. You know, I wasn't able to do that before without falling all over the place.
At VA's Human Motor Performance Lab, Sidoni Lawrence participates in a research trial studying the AnkleBot.
Okay, let's get the robot.
This cutting-edge technology was engineered and is being monitored by VA's Dr. Anindo Roy.
We have been using the ankle robot, which is a very novel robotic exoskeleton designed to help recover function at a paralyzed ankle due to a stroke or some other neurologic injury.
Yes.
Through this training, we think we may improve some of the fundamental connections from the brain to the muscles so that they can maybe use that to walk better.
It will gradually take you to 1.7.
In both the seated and the standing version, the AnkleBot can detect how much of a neurological deficit the patient has.
Feels fine.
And then the robot pitches in to assist.
Debbie, do you need more assistance? Is it lifting your foot up enough?
Yes.
With these robotics, we're not trying to give them a crutch to take home. What we're trying to do is remodel the nervous system and the muscular system so that they can perform better on their own.
The scientific word for this brain remodeling is called plasticity, the brain's ability to change, grow, and remap itself. The data collected from this clinical trial shows that the AnkleBot improves a stroke patient's ability to walk, even years after they've had a stroke.
It feels good, actually. It feels very comfortable. When I came here, I wasn't walking at all. I had a cane and the ankle brace. And then as it progressed, I got rid of the cane first, and then I got rid of the ankle brace.
Debbie, we're set to go.
It just strengthened my ankle and foot enough that I didn't need it anymore.
Using the ankle robot to actually train the task of walking leads to greater benefits in walking and standing balance.
The research agenda within the Veterans Affairs Administration is quite extensive, and there's a big focus on getting veterans involved with research. I would encourage all veterans to look into the research opportunities that may be available to them.
That's what I'm talking about.
To see patients improve their quality of life in terms of mobility for good, in a permanent sense, where they get rid of their crutches. That is the greatest reward, where you have a real impact on somebody's life.
More than 2 million veterans served in Iraq and/or Afghanistan. But the unemployment rate for these returning veterans is nearly 30% higher than that of the general population. VA is committed to helping transitioning veterans find employment. If you are interested in starting a business, VA may be able to help you get up and running.
Now that Afghanistan's coming to an end, Iraq's over, there are going to be a lot of veterans getting discharged from the military looking for employment, and I think Patriot Commercial Cleaning could be an opportunity for them.
Tim Smith's cleaning firm, Patriot Commercial Cleaners, has been designated as a service-disabled, veteran-owned small business. That means it's accorded special consideration under VA's Veterans First contracting program. which is empowered to legally set aside contracts and/or award sole source contracts not only to Tim's firm, but to others like it all across the United States.
So right now we have about 40 contracts. We have 23 employees, 21 are veterans.
Working for Patriot's really good. Since Tim is also a veteran, he knows that he can just give us a task and we'll get it done. He doesn't have to try to micromanage or anything like that. He knows what he gives us is going to be done and be done right.
I was in the Army. I was in there from 2003 to 2007, and it's always been very important to me to help other fellow veterans because somebody helped me out.
Tim is probably one of the most honorable people I know. He absolutely loves the military community, and the fact that he gives back to that community by hiring other veterans is perfect.
A lot of our veteran employees go to school during the day and then work at night as part of a team. That's the same way I started the company. I'd work during the day and cleaned at night.
I'm gonna start going back to school. Now that since it'll be at night, it'll be a lot easier to do school during the day.
The benefits, I believe, is definitely the flexible schedule. With our model, we can hire more and more veterans. Another thing is, just the camaraderie. That's one thing I know I personally really miss when I got out of the service, where I'm able to work with other veterans now as part of a team.
Military teaches you teamwork really well, and that helps a whole lot in the civilian world with a job like this.
Every facility needs their place cleaned. It's a need. We've already been trained attention to detail while in the military, and these are skills that we can utilize now in our scope of work cleaning all the facilities. In about 4 years, we've never lost a contract, and I think that's because we pay our veterans better. We expect a lot out of them, but they also expect a lot out of us. If you want a strong company, I think hiring a veteran will help your bottom line without a doubt. It's great to have them on the team, and we want to support them in whatever way that we can.
VA is determined to do the same and has established the Veteran Entrepreneur Portal in order to help veterans discover opportunities for business startups or expand an existing operation. If you would like to learn more, please visit the portal at the address you see on your screen.
In its ongoing quest to provide patients with evidence-based, patient-centered care, VA has enhanced its use of integrative therapies like yoga, meditation, and even acupuncture. Today, about 9 out of 10 VA medical centers offer this modality of treatment. Veterans taking part in these complementary and alternative approaches say that they can be highly effective in producing whole-body benefits for a variety of ailments.
VA's Dr. Jeanette Actor, an OBGYN by training, had been practicing for decades when she decided to return to school for a master's degree in acupuncture.
I expected to learn how to manage pain there, which is a great deal of it, but what I learned in this particular acupuncture education was how important taking care of the entire patient is. I was supposed to know that from my medical practice, and to some extent I suppose I did. But I wish I had learned in medical school what I learned in acupuncture school. I want to welcome everybody.
This group session at the VA Medical Center in Washington, D.C., for example, is not only voluntary, it's also full to capacity.
We have a lot of guys, and sometimes some females too, that come regularly, and you form like a little bond. So it makes it that much better as far as the treatment.
Are you ready, sir?
Army veteran Sonny Pate tries to attend every session. His initial motivation was to find relief for insomnia.
And darn if it didn't work, I went right back to sleep. When I leave here, I'm very relaxed. If I could carry that, bottle it, and this carry it with me all the time, it would be great. But of course, that's not possible. So we learn techniques that when you are not here, it helps you.
Practitioners say it's a more holistic approach to patient care, one in which a person's mind and spirit are treated along with the body as an integrated whole. Amanda Hull is Program Director for Integrative Health and Wellness at the DC VA Medical Center.
Acupuncture has been one of our most desired services here in our program. The preliminary research and the preliminary anecdotal case studies are very, very promising at this point.
We live in a time, and thankfully the VA is a place where people can have the best of Western medicine alongside some pretty good Eastern medicine, and patients benefit when we integrate both approaches. That's the essence of integrative medicine.
Eastern medicine's integrative character is often symbolized by the taigitu, a form representing the interconnectedness of all forms of energy, as expressed through the ancient Chinese concepts of yin and yang.
And the yin is that portion of life which is nourishing, which promotes growth. The yang is that part of doing, being all that you can be. In a nutshell, it's all about balance. So the whole idea of acupuncture really is to try to help reestablish that balance, not only through the positioning of particular needles, but by helping the patient with talking.
You're here every week for the ear group.
It works, every day. You know, so it works for me.
Acupuncturist Elaine Duncan has studied the effects of this form of treatment on veterans suffering from post-traumatic stress.
And that put me in a position where the leadership here at the DC VA was willing to take a risk and credential a licensed acupuncturist, which was an innovative and brave thing for them to do back in 2007 when I started here.
Individual treatment sessions are customized to address specific complaints. In the group sessions, only the ear is used.
The ear is a very interesting organ in Chinese medicine. It actually, if you look at it, it looks a little bit like an inverted fetus, right? So the head is down here, and the backbone comes along here, and the legs are curled up, and the inner organs, the liver and the gallbladder and the heart, are all kind of here in the middle. And because the ear is so proximal to the brain, there are a lot of points that are all about regulating brain health, regulating the brain stem in particular, where those primal responses, fight, flight, freeze, that get activated in trauma, are accessible.
In auricular, or ear acupuncture, 12 points are selected based on their effectiveness in restoring balance and regulation.
So we can take these 12 points that we've pre-selected and find the 5 that are the most reactive. So acupuncture is an ideal form for bringing regulation to the autonomic nervous system, which is what gets so dysregulated in trauma.
Research continues into the precise medical benefits of acupuncture. But both the patients who undergo it and the clinicians who administer it have learned one thing: it works.
Archie's Acres, a small organic farm in Southern California, is home to the Veteran Sustainable Agriculture Training Program. Here, veterans are not only learning hands-on farming skills, but also gaining insight into owning their own business.
When Colin returned from his 3rd deployment, for me, I was really excited. He was home and he was in one piece, and I felt really lucky.
As you see, we keep the roots on.
And what I realized that being in combat, Colin is used to a lot of adrenaline. He was used to charging forward at all times.
We throw it in our Archie's Acres sleeve.
As a spouse, you really recognize that, you know, somebody can get bored really fast. And I would tell you that being an entrepreneur, you're never bored.
Put it in cases, and then we take it to the store. Most people don't think as vets and service members as entrepreneurs. Our opinion is that with their leadership skills and work ethic and their ability or their willingness to take risk, makes them uniquely poised to become entrepreneurs. The lifestyle, being able to work for yourself, being able to create jobs and continue to lead, to take risk, and to continue to serve your community and your country.
The Veteran Sustainable Agriculture Training Program is a full immersion course into sustainable organic agriculture as a career.
Yeah, oh man, that's nice. That's how you know it's good soil right there, huh?
We go from seed to market, but we also teach how to build a business plan.
I was immediately interested. I think the lifestyle fit me, being outside, working hands-on.
When you're with other veterans and service members, there's a sense of community in the program, and for whatever reason, it seems like it's easier to be around people who have shared similar experiences, whether it's with war or just the military in general. it creates a very good environment to be in.
And the economics is a critical part of our program. We have an economics class that carries over about 12 hours of the training, and that's where the profitability aspect ties in. If you don't know how to run a business, you're going to fail as a farm.
Your net profit for your first year will be $201,000.
We actually have people that come in and teach about niche marketing and being able to identify the right crop, and then before you buy seeds, where it's going to be sold.
Okay, what's inside of your greenhouse?
Goes from soil science, plant science, irrigation, all that stuff, but then it also teaches you how to be a business owner.
We get help with the financial aspect, with marketing, with figuring out how we're going to brand ourselves, where we're going to sell our crops, what we're going to grow.
Labor for erecting a complete greenhouse.
That's not bad, because then we still have enough money left over.
They give you every piece of knowledge that you need to go from starting your farm to running your farm. You have a thirst that never quenches when it comes to researching your new career field of being a farmer. There was people from every branch that were in there, so it wasn't just me and the Army guy, the Marines, there was Air Force and Navy, so it's really cool.
The theme is sustainable agriculture, and you don't want to waste water, especially in this day and age.
Hydroponics is a way of growing food without the soil itself. You have a complete closed loop system where you constantly recycle water. It's 10 times easier than actually, tilling soil, removing the plant, doing all the other kind of stuff that you naturally would do with soil. And that's something that I'd love for veterans to be able to do, because it's not a back-breaking, sun up to sun down style of farming.
With a small lot of land, using the right crop production systems, you can be profitable. So you don't need to go out and dump a ton of money in land, which young, 25-year-old leaving the military isn't going to have access to that type of capital anyway.
It's a big deal to have this type of training program with veterans learning this type of stuff and then going back to their communities and their families and sharing that information and becoming part of society.
2, 3. Come on, Amy.
So it's not such a big reach.
Got it?
They can actually start a farm, build a greenhouse, and be sustainable for that family, but then start feeding their communities.
Perfect.
Archie's Acres, they give the option. They open up doors and opportunity, whether agriculture or just getting entrepreneurship, running a business.
I know that this is what I want to do, and I know this is how I want to spend my time and how I want to provide for my family.
In 2007, Congress enacted legislation that allowed VA to fund limited programming to support caregivers of veterans. From these pilot projects, it became clear that supporting caregivers actually helps veterans as well. So from that came a much larger piece of legislation, which has allowed VA to provide unprecedented benefits directly to these caregivers.
Hey, Matt.
Hello, Miss Hyman.
Good to see you. Come on in.
Thank you. How's everyone doing?
Everything's doing good. I was riding in the back seat of a Humvee. We ran over an IED. I was ejected from the vehicle and I was instantly paralyzed.
When Josh returned to us injured, it was definitely life-changing, not only for me, but for my entire family. No one is ever prepared to or expects something like this is going to happen to them.
The Elizabeth Dole Foundation funded the RAND Corporation to do a large study on military caregivers, and its findings are impressive. They estimate 5.5 million caregivers of veterans, and 1.1 million of those are taking care of post-9/11 veterans. It's so important for VA to develop programming and provide supports and services to caregivers of veterans.
For the specific family caregiver program, the initial eligibility is that you have to have been released on or after September 11th, 2001, and have a service-connected related injury or illness that happened in the line of duty. And after that, we have to determine if you're clinically eligible. And what we're looking for is the kinds of needs the veteran has in the home.
Ms. Hyman, how are things going with you? How's your stress level been?
I can share many different stories about caregivers who were so thrilled the first time a nurse came out to their home to do a home visit and couldn't believe that the nurse was asking them how they were doing and how they felt and how they were being impacted by what was going on. Caregiver support coordinators hear from caregivers about how much the program has changed their lives.
The service that I am most blessed with is the caregiver's stipend. That has enabled me to continue to support and contribute to the family financially, because there's no way that I could have a job outside of my full-time caregiving responsibilities. Another thing that the stipend does is I feel like it validates me. It validates my job, the importance of what I do.
One of the biggest issues that I hear is the need for respite care for the caregiver. The stress that they incur while having to take care of a loved one can be pretty daunting, and it's constant, and they need some kind of break for someone to come in and help them take care of the veteran while they step away from the situation temporarily.
We imagined that that support line would exist for maybe a year or so, and we imagined that most of the questions would be about this stipend program for those who are caring for post-9/11 veterans. Most of the caregivers who call are caring for veterans of the Korean era, the Vietnam era, the World War II era. We have just celebrated the 3rd anniversary of the Caregiver Support Line, and the support line has received more than 125,000 calls.
The OAF, OIF, OND era veteran, these veterans are very, very young, and they have come back with a complexity of injuries and illnesses.
I think it's important that veterans are taken care of in their own home from a psychological standpoint. Instead of going to a nursing home, they can receive their care from someone that they love and that they trust.
My first initial rollout was 19 caregivers were identified initially in May of 2011, and I'm up to 176 caregivers and still counting. I know over the nation, I think we probably tripled the expectation at this point. So we haven't looked back, and we are just blazing ahead at lightning speed with this program.
We've been very excited that military caregiving has been a focus of joining forces for Michelle Obama and Dr. Jill Biden. It's really, I think, raised the profile and allowed us to put more focus and attention on caregivers of veterans.
Family members are going to be caring for our veterans for a long time. We've seen that evidence by previous eras. We believe when we take care of the family members who care for our veterans do better.
I really have to spend a lot of time and energy devoted to daily care that I once took for granted. And it's so awesome that the VA is providing for me to be back in my home and to have the best people who love me unconditionally take care of me.
No one can take better care of him than I can. And it's my privilege and my honor to care for him in my home.
If you'd like to get in touch with us or obtain more information about benefits and services, call us at 1-800-827-1000 or visit our website, va.gov. And if you're a veteran who's troubled in some way, please call the Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255. And that concludes this edition of The American Veteran. The Department of Veterans Affairs is honored to bring you this program.